Welcome back. Today, we're stepping into the most politically charged volume yet of jobless reincarnation. In this volume of Mushoku Tensei, Rudeus takes on his most dangerous mission yet. Not with the sword, but with loyalty, politics, and a sacred beast that acts more like a clingy puppy. From summoning mishaps to uncovering ancient secrets in a library guarded by slimes and a kingdom on the brink of civil war. This is the calm before the storm. So buckle up, because Volume 16 isn't just about saving Ariel's claim to the throne, it's about reshaping the future itself. Let's dive in. Rudeus Greyrat's life had taken a dramatic turn. After uncovering the man, God's deceit, and surviving a brutal confrontation with Orsted, he had become the Dragon God's subordinate, a role he accepted to protect his family. The joy of reuniting with Eris and marrying her filled him with warmth, as if spring had blossomed in his heart despite the summer heat. One morning, as Rudeus made his way to Orsted's cottage, he stumbled upon a shocking sight. Zenobia, his loyal friend and disciple, lay motionless against a shattered heap of metal, the remnants of Rudeus's destroyed magic armor. Panic surged through him until he confirmed Zenobia was merely unconscious, not dead. Orsted emerged, revealing that Zenobia had fought him to protect the armor, vowing to deliver it to Rudeus no matter the cost. Touched by his friend's devotion, Rudeus gently tended to him before following Orsted inside. Their discussion turned to the man, God's manipulations. Orsted deduced that Rudeus's actions had altered history, serving the man, God's hidden agenda. Though the enemy's ultimate goal remained unclear, Orsted was determined to redirect the future in his favor. Their first mission: ensure Princess Ariel's ascension to the Asura kingdom's throne. Orsted explained that Ariel's rise originally relied on three key figures: Derek Redbat, Eris, and Tristina Purplehorse, but the displacement incident had disrupted this path. With Derek dead and Eris now Rudeus's wife, their focus shifted to finding Tristina, a noble woman enslaved by the corrupt High Minister Darius. Her testimony could topple him, clearing Ariel's path to power. Rudeus, though uneasy about the political machinations, agreed to the plan. Orsted entrusted him with a guardian beast summoning scroll, a tool to further safeguard his family. As Rudeus left, his mind buzzed with anticipation, both for the summoning and the daunting task ahead. The stakes were high, but with Orsted's guidance and his own resolve, he was ready to reshape the future. The chapter closed with Rudeus carrying Zenobia home, his heart set on the challenges to come. The game was afoot, and the first move was theirs to make. With a month left before the Asura kingdom's king fell ill, Rudeus Greyrat had two pressing tasks: securing Pyrrhus' support for Princess Ariel, and ensuring his family's safety in his absence. The latter weighed heavily on his mind, prompting him to act on Orsted's promise, a guardian beast to stand as their protector. Gathering his family in the garden, Rudeus prepared for the summoning. Despite their unease, Sylphie's distrust of Orsted, Roxy's cautious grip on her staff, and Eris's eagerness for a fight, he pressed on. The magic circle, a gift from Orsted, demanded absolute obedience from whatever it summoned, binding the creature eternally to his household. With a deep breath, Rudeus channeled his vast mana into the scroll, envisioning a noble, powerful guardian. The first attempt went awry. Instead of a beast, the circle yanked Aromanfi the Bright, Pyrrhus' loyal spirit, into servitude. Horrified, the masked figure demanded release, and Rudeus, equally stunned, hastily dissolved the contract. The incident left the family baffled and Rudeus sheepish, but it also revealed the sheer force of Orsted's magic and his own. Undeterred, Rudeus tried again, this time with Pyrrhus' revised circle. Focusing on the image of a lion, the king of beasts, he poured his mana into the spell. The result, however, was not the regal predator he'd imagined. Before him stood a massive silver-furred creature, part lion, part pup, with the unmistakable demeanor of the sacred beast once revered in Dolgia village. Recognition dawned. This was no ordinary animal, but a being the beast folk held sacred. The implications were troubling. Stealing their guardian would invite wrath, but the creature's affectionate nuzzling and immediate attachment to Roxy softened Rudeus' worries. Naming it Leo, he laid down the terms: protect the family, obey commands, and never harm them. The beast agreed with an eager bark and a paw shake, sealing their bond. As Leo settled in, Rudius couldn't shake his doubts. Was this playful giant truly capable of defending them? Yet, as the pup curled around Roxy, its loyalty already evident, he allowed himself a sliver of hope. The guardian beast might not have been what he expected, but it was his, and for now, that would have to be enough. The chapter closed with Leo's integration into the household, a whimsical yet pivotal addition to Rudius's ever-complicated life. The game was changing, and with it, the stakes. For his family, his mission, and the future he was determined to shape. 2 days had passed since Rudius summoned the guardian beast, Leo, who had seamlessly integrated into the household. The intelligent beast took his role as protector seriously, standing sentry at the entrance, accompanying family members on errands, and even comforting little Lucy when she cried. His loyalty was unwavering, though he showed particular devotion to Roxy, much to Rudius's amused exasperation. Leo's presence brought a sense of security, but his overprotectiveness of Roxy made Rudius reflect on his own role as a husband. Meanwhile, Eris and Leo had an odd dynamic. While Eris adored animals, Leo kept his distance, likely wary of her overwhelming strength. Their walks together, however, were a necessity. Leo's patrols covered the entire city, and only Eris could match his pace. His territory extended 2 kilometers around the house, warding off even stray cats. The peace Leo brought was undeniable, though his status as the beastfolk's protector god added an unexpected layer of complexity. The tranquility was interrupted when Luke Noto's Grey Rat arrived unannounced. Rudius, wary of the man, God's influence, observed him from the shadows. Luke's flowery compliments toward an unseen woman quickly turned into a disaster when Eris, the target of his affections, knocked him unconscious with a single punch. Rudius dragged him inside, torn between amusement and suspicion. When Luke awoke, his muddled thoughts slowly cleared. He revealed his true purpose, to seek Rudius's aid in securing Ariel's path to the Asuran throne. Perogius's support was crucial, and Luke believed Rudius's connections and abilities could tip the scales. His plea was earnest, driven by the memory of a fallen friend, Derek Redbat. Yet Rudius remained cautious, aware that the man, God's schemes could be at play. After Luke departed, Rudius was left with a weighty decision. The stakes were high, and the lines between ally and puppet were blurred. With Leo's growl lingering in his mind, a silent warning, Rudius knew the next move would shape the future. The time had come to consult Orsted and prepare for the battle ahead. Rudius contacted Orsted using the enchanted ring, arranging a discreet meeting outside the cottage. Orsted, ever enigmatic, listened as Rudius recounted recent events, Leo's integration into the household, Luke's suspicious visit, and his plea for aid in securing Ariel's ascension to the Asuran throne. Orsted dismissed concerns about Leo, confirming the guardian beast's formidable power, but the conversation took a darker turn when Luke's potential allegiance to the man, God, arose. Orsted coldly suggested eliminating him, citing the risk of manipulation. Rudius recoiled at the idea, grappling with the moral weight of murder, yet he understood the necessity if Luke proved a threat. The discussion shifted to strategy. Orsted revealed the man, God's limitations, his ability to control only 3 individuals at once, and emphasized the need to identify his other puppets. Rudius theorized that one might already be embedded in Asura's nobility, working against Ariel. Though uneasy, he accepted Orsted's plan, secure Perugius' support, outmaneuver the man, God's schemes, and propel Ariel to power. To aid in this, Orsted gifted Rudius a legendary robe imbued with magic, resistant properties, and enhanced mobility, a tangible reminder of the dangers ahead. That night, Rudius confided in Sylphie, revealing Orsted's orders and the stakes involved. Sylphie, torn between loyalty to Ariel and suspicion of Orsted's motives, demanded assurances. Her trust in Luke was unwavering, and she vowed to kill him herself if he ever betrayed Ariel. A chilling declaration that underscored her resolve. Rudius, though hesitant to involve her, agreed to let her accompany him to Asura. Despite the risks, the shadow of the man, God's prophecy loomed. Sylphie's potential fate weighed heavily on him. But the altered timeline offered hope. As the chapter closed, Rudius steeled himself for the battles to come, both political and personal. The path to kingship was fraught with hidden enemies, and the line between ally and pawn grew ever thinner. With Sylphie at his side and Leo guarding their home, the game was set, but the man god's moves remained unseen. Rudius arrived at Perugia's floating fortress to find Princess Ariel hosting a tea party in the garden, her elegant demeanor masking deep exhaustion. Nanahoshi sat across from her, visibly uncomfortable, while Silveril served tea with uncharacteristic coldness, likely still upset over Rudius's earlier mishap with Armonfi. The atmosphere was tense, weighed down by unspoken worries. Ariel, though drained, maintained her regal composure, her eyes silently pleading for someone to acknowledge her struggles. Rudius, sensing her desperation, joined the table, flanked by Sylphie and Luke. The princess's weariness mirrored Luke's, a testament to the burdens of their ambitions. When Rudius mentioned his allegiance to Orsted, Ariel's reaction was subdued, her voice tinged with unease. She admitted to fearing Orsted's presence, yet strangely his curse seemed less potent on her, a detail that intrigued Rudius. The conversation shifted to Perugius's elusive question: what makes a true king? Ariel confessed she had exhausted every avenue, even researching King Gaunus, Perugius's late friend, but found no answers. Rudius suggested collaboration, urging Ariel to share her past and the sacrifices of those who died for her cause. With reluctance, she recounted the stories of 13 loyal companions, her voice thick with grief, yet one name stood out: Derek Redbat, a figure she barely knew, but whose death had ignited her resolve to claim the throne. Luke speculated that Derek might have known the answer to Perugius's riddle, his unwavering faith and Ariel hinting at deeper insight. But with Derek gone, the trio went cold. The group fell into heavy silence, the weight of lost lives and unanswered questions pressing down on them. Though the meeting ended without resolution, Ariel's spirit seemed lighter, as if sharing her burdens had granted her a sliver of hope. Rudius, too, felt a renewed determination. The path ahead was unclear, but one thing was certain: unlocking the secret of kingship would require more than just intellect. It would demand heart, memory, and perhaps a touch of the past's forgotten wisdom. The chapter closed on an uncertain yet purposeful note, the characters united in their quest, each step forward shadowed by the ghosts of those who had paved their way. After his meeting with Ariel, Rudius hurried to report the details to Orsted, playing the role of a dutiful informant. The princess's exhaustion and doubts weighed heavily on her, but her determination remained intact, even if it flickered like a candle in the wind. Orsted, ever enigmatic, listened carefully before offering an unexpected solution: the hidden repository of knowledge deep within the demon continent's wraith forest. The Labyrinth, Rudius learned, was the work of a book-obsessed demon king who copied texts from across the world using a demon eye. Though disorganized, it held more records on Gaunus, Free, and Asura than even the Asuran royal library. Orsted handed Rudius a cryptic sketch, a potential clue should their search prove fruitless. With teleportation circles at their disposal, the journey would be swift, but convincing Ariel's wary retinue to trust Orsted's aid would be another challenge entirely. That night, Rudius found Ariel alone in Perugius's moonlit garden, her regal facade crumbling under the weight of self-doubt. She questioned whether she was truly fit to be king, her voice trembling with uncharacteristic vulnerability. Sensing her despair, Rudius seized the moment, revealing Orsted's plan. The mere mention of a path forward reignited Ariel's resolve, her eyes alight with renewed purpose. 3 days later, the group assembled before a teleportation circle in Sharia. Ariel, though wary of Orsted's absence, trusted Rudius's assurance. Sylphie and Luke remained skeptical, their distrust of Orsted lingering like a shadow. Meanwhile, Eris and Ghislaine joined the expedition, the former eager for adventure, the latter seeking vengeance for Soros. Ghislaine's introduction to Ariel was blunt, her loyalty contingent on the promise of retribution. Ariel, ever the diplomat, met her demands with grace, weaving Eris into the unspoken pact. The air buzzed with tension and unspoken alliances, but beneath it all, a fragile trust began to form. As the teleportation circle hummed to life, the group stepped into the unknown, their fates intertwining with the secrets of the Labyrinth. The answer to Perugius's riddle, and perhaps Ariel's destiny, lay buried within its chaotic shelves, waiting to be unearthed. The chapter closed on the precipice of discovery. the characters united by ambition, loyalty, and the ghosts of their pasts, ready to face whatever awaited them in the depths of the library labyrinth. Stepping out of the teleportation circle, Rudius and his companions found themselves in the heart of the library labyrinth, a vast maze of towering stone bookshelves stretching endlessly into the distance. The air was thick with the scent of ink and parchment, a testament to the countless volumes lining the walls. Among the group, only Ghislaine remained unfazed by the sight. All the others, including the usually composed Eris and the ever-graceful Princess Ariel, were left in awe. The labyrinth was unlike any they had encountered before. Instead of deadly traps and aggressive monsters, the halls were patrolled by peculiar creatures, slimes carrying books, ants scurrying with purpose, and towering snails with writhing tentacles. These beings paid little attention to the intruders, focused solely on their tasks of organizing and maintaining the labyrinth. Despite the initial tension, the group soon realized that the real challenge lay not in combat, but in navigating the endless shelves and uncovering the knowledge they sought. Their mission was to find information about King Gaunus, a figure central to Ariel's ambitions. As they ventured deeper, the books grew more recent, chronicling the aftermath of Laplace's war. The further they went, the more the labyrinth's structure curved inward, hinting at a central chamber. Yet, the path was far from straightforward, with dead ends and branching corridors testing their patience. After hours of searching, they stumbled upon a vast cone-shaped hollow. At its center loomed an enormous slime, its many tentacles scribbling furiously on pages, its single massive eye fixed on the ceiling. This was the master of the labyrinth, Demon King Beethoven Tovitha. Though initially wary, Rudius soon discovered a way to communicate with the creature through writing, using his journal as a medium. To his surprise, the Demon King responded, amused by the book from the future Rudius carried, a reference to the diary left by his future self. Grateful for the entertainment, Beethoven granted Rudius a single wish, the location of a specific book. With Orsted's foresight guiding him, Rudius presented a sketch of the cover, and the Demon King retrieved the exact volume, Derek Redbat's diary. The contents of the diary shocked Ariel, revealing truths about her late mentor and solidifying her resolve. Meanwhile, Luke's emotional reaction to the book, tears staining the pages, unwittingly triggered the labyrinth's guardians, who viewed the damage as sacrilege. What followed was a frantic retreat, as the once passive creatures turned hostile, swarming the group with relentless fury. Slimes merged into towering monstrosities, ants descended from the ceiling, and snails barreled through the shelves. Rudius and his companions fought their way back, with Sylphie's magic and Ghislaine's blade carving a path forward, while Eris and Luke guarded their flanks. Despite the chaos, they emerged victorious, reaching the teleportation circle just in time. Though their exit was less than graceful, their mission was a success. Ariel had found the answers she sought, and the group had proven their strength in the face of unexpected danger. Yet, as they vanished from the labyrinth, Rudius couldn't help but lament the bridge they had burned, their reckless actions ensuring they would never be welcome in the library labyrinth again. The chapter closed with a mix of triumph and regret, a reminder that even in victory, every choice carried consequences. The grand audience chamber of Chaosbreaker, Pururius Dola's floating fortress, was an imposing sight. 12 mighty spirits stood in solemn formation, their presence casting an air of reverence over the room. At the center of it all sat Perugius himself, the legendary armored Dragon King, his piercing gaze fixed upon the woman who dared to seek his favor, Isle Anamoa Asura, the second princess of the Asura kingdom. Ariel had spent the last hour preparing for this moment, donning regal attire befitting her station. Beside her, Sylphie and Luke stood as her loyal retainers, while Rudius, clad in the unassuming yet significant robe gifted by Orsted, observed the scene with quiet anticipation. The tension in the air was palpable as Ariel stepped forward, her poise unwavering despite the weight of the spirit's scrutiny. Pururius wasted no time with formalities. His question was direct, cutting to the heart of the matter. What is the most important thing a king must possess? Ariel's answer was not one of grandeur or ambition, but of duty and remembrance. A true king, she declared, must have the determination to carry on the will of those who came before them, that it was a response born from the sacrifices of her fallen retainers, particularly Derek Redbat, whose unwavering belief in her had shaped her path. Proteus's reaction was inscrutable. His expression darkened, his tone laced with skepticism. He challenged her, questioning whether a ruler who relied on the wills of others could truly be called a king. Yet Ariel stood firm, unshaken by his disdain. She would not compromise her ideals, even if it meant losing his support. To everyone's surprise, Perugia's stern demeanor cracked. A booming laugh echoed through the chamber as he commended her conviction. Though her answer was not what he had sought, it resonated with the memory of his old friend, King Gaunus, a man who had once claimed that the Sidereal Kings was one for whom others would willingly sacrifice their lives. In Ariel, Perugia saw that same rare quality, and with a solemn vow, he pledged his aid to her cause. Relief washed over the group, though Rudius remained puzzled. Later, in a private moment, he sought clarity from Perugia. The Dragon King's explanation was cryptic yet revealing. Ariel was not the ruler he had envisioned, but she embodied the ideal that Gaunus had once spoken of. That was enough. With Perugia's support secured, the group prepared for their next move, a swift return to Asura Kingdom. However, their plans were thrown into disarray when Silverreel delivered startling news. Every teleportation circle within Asura had been destroyed, forcing them to travel by land. Suspicion flickered in Luke's eyes, his gaze lingering on Rudius, as if questioning whether this was Orsted's doing. Yet, Ariel remained composed, accepting the setback with resolve. As the group dispersed to make final preparations, Rudius was left to ponder the road ahead. The journey to Asura would be fraught with danger, and hidden enemies lurked in the shadows. But with Perugia's backing and Ariel's unyielding determination, the path to the throne was finally within reach. The chapter closed on a note of quiet anticipation, the weight of destiny pressing upon their shoulders as they stood on the precipice of a revolution. The chapter opens with Rudius meeting Orsted for the third time at a secluded cottage near Sharia. Their conversation revolves around recent events, including Ariel's alliance with Perugius and the destruction of the teleportation circles within Asura's borders, a move orchestrated by the man, God's apostles. Orsted, with his usual unsettling grin, confirms Rudius' suspicions. High Minister Darius and First Prince are likely the man, God's pawns, and Luke's loyalty, though genuine to Ariel, makes him a dangerous spy. The stakes are clear, failure means death, and Orsted leaves the final decisions on eliminating these threats to Rudius' discretion. As preparations for the journey to Asura begin, Rudius grapples with the weight of his role. He trains relentlessly with Eris, now a Sword King, enduring brutal mock battles to sharpen his combat skills. Despite his losses, her growth impresses him, and her unwavering support bolsters his resolve. Meanwhile, he spends precious moments with Roxy, whose pregnancy adds urgency to his mission. Together, they name their unborn child, Loro for a boy, Laura for a girl. A tender moment overshadowed by the looming separation. Behind the scenes, Rudius works with Zenoba and Cliff to refine his magic armor and research Orsted's curse, weaving half-truths to keep their trust. The curse's influence strains his relationships, but he clings to the hope that understanding it will unite them against the man, God. The chapter also reveals lighter moments, drunken camaraderie with Cliff and Zenoba, a raucous girls' night with Sylphie, Eris, and Roxy, and the quiet strength of family bonds. As the departure day arrives, Rudius bids farewell to his loved ones, the emotional weight tempered by their unspoken trust. The journey ahead is fraught with danger. North Emperor Albert and Water God Rita await, and the political machinations of Asura's court loom large. Yet, armed with newfound resolve and the support of his wives and allies, Rudius steps forward, determined to carve a future where they can all reunite in peace. The chapter masterfully balances tension and warmth, showcasing Rudius' growth as a leader, warrior, and family man, all while the shadow of destiny presses ever closer. The chapter opens with Ghislaine Dodolia's disciplined routine, a reflection of her unwavering dedication to the sword. Each morning before dawn, she walks the quiet streets of Sharia, observes the city's pulse, and returns to her inn to practice the same monotonous swings she's repeated for over a decade. This ritual, instilled by sword god Gal Fallon, grounds her, a constant in a life marked by upheaval. With her mission to protect Eris now fulfilled, only one goal remains: vengeance for Soros. The simplicity of this purpose brings her an uncharacteristic peace. That evening, Ghislaine visits a bustling pub, her intimidating aura keeping others at a distance. Rumors paint her as the infamous Berserker Sword King, but in truth, she's merely waiting for her meal. A thick, rare steak that she devours with single-minded focus. Her solitude is interrupted by Elise, her old comrade from the Black Wolf Fangs, now heavily pregnant and radiating contentment. Their reunion is warm yet tinged with melancholy as they reminisce about their fallen friends. Paul, whose heroic death in Begarit contrasted his reckless youth, and Zenith, whose fragile state weighs heavily on them. Between bites of meat and sips of water, Elise abstaining from alcohol for her child's sake, the two women trade stories of their adventures, treasure hunts, reckless gambles, and Ghislaine's long-ago infatuation with Paul. Laughter mingles with sorrow as they acknowledge how time has changed them. Elise, once a wanderer, now thrives in marital devotion to Cliff, while Ghislaine, ever the lone warrior, remains steadfast in her oath to avenge Soros. The conversation turns to the future. Elise, with grandmotherly pride, implores Ghislaine to protect Rudius and Sylphie in Asura, a request Ghislaine accepts without hesitation. As they part ways, Ghislaine walks back to her inn, tail flicking in quiet satisfaction. The weight of her past and the clarity of her purpose leave her strangely uplifted. Though her path is stained with blood and memories, she moves forward, a blade honed by time, ready to carve justice into the heart of her enemies. This chapter is a poignant interlude, blending action with introspection and showcasing the enduring bonds of camaraderie amidst the scars of war and loss. Volume 16 is a turning point, not because of a grand battle, but because of everything it sets into motion. Rudius is no longer just reacting to fate. He's moving pieces across the board, preparing for a war of thrones, curses, and unseen hands. We saw Ariel step up with true grace under fire, Leo steal every scene with his oversized paws, and Rudius face the weight of leadership like never before. The Labyrinth gave them answers, but not without cost. And with teleportation circles gone, the journey ahead will be long, brutal, and full of enemies. Whether you're here for the drama, the politics, or the puppy, this volume delivers it all. So, what do you think makes a true king? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what happens next, because things are only getting more dangerous from here.